Welcome to the I Can Do Anything podcast, and my name is still Colin. I'm here recording on a Friday night because I can do anything that I so please, and there were 4 games in the NBA last night. First, though, I want to talk about the Houston Rockets trade offer to the Timberwolves. I got the notification about the trade offer last night just after I finished recording the last episode, and, you know, initially I just kind of saw it and didn't really think too much about it because I don't know how serious of an offer it is. But the more I've thought about it over the last 24 hours, the trade offer was 4 future first-round draft picks. It didn't specify which years the first-round draft picks would be in, so I don't know. Basically, what I'm getting at is that the Timberwolves aren't competing for a championship, even with Jimmy Butler this year. I think that's pretty universally accepted and understood. I wonder if the management and the higher-ups, the executives within the organization in Minnesota, I wonder if they think that they're going to compete for a championship. Because in the West, I don't see it, even with Jimmy Butler. So why not give up Jimmy Butler to a struggling Houston Rockets team that is pretty desperate because the window, this trade offer sort of indicates that they're even 4 or 5 games into the season. We're 2 weeks in, and it seems like it almost seems like the rails are coming off in Houston already. This trade offer kind of jumps out at me in that regard. I feel like they realize that the window is closing, and this is their chance to make a move to get another star to play with Chris Paul and James Harden, and I guess Carmelo Anthony, who's not having a very good season, to say the least. He's not having a horrible season, but he's a cancer, and it's sort of obvious. But if you're the Timberwolves, why not? Why not take it? You can only get better in the future. You've still got Karl Anthony Towns, who's young, Andrew Wiggins, who's young, and you can still build around those guys, but you're not going to win this year. So why not take 4 first-round draft picks? The projected, next year's draft is going to be amazing with likely those 3 Duke guys coming out, highlighted by Zion Williamson, who is still, I don't quite understand what the whole thing about RJ Barrett being, he was the number 1 overall prospect coming out of this high school class. Zion Williamson was 2. I haven't seen tons of RJ Barrett footage, but I just don't see how how his ceiling is higher than Zion Williamson. And maybe the rankings go by current skill set and current who's better currently, I guess. But Zion Williamson's ceiling is ridiculously high, and that draft class next year is going to be really good. So if that trade offer includes first-round draft picks next year, I don't know what their chances are at Zion's going to go 1 or 2. I don't know what their chances are at being the first or second pick. But there's the draft class that are coming up are projected to be really, really good. Even if fuck the projections. Why not take 4 first-round draft picks to get rid of a guy that doesn't want to be in your organization anymore? When you're not, you're not going to beat the Warriors, plain and simple. And if you're not going to the finals, then what are you doing, really? All right, let's get into the action from last night. Cavs and Pistons was the first game on League Pass last night. I was watching the Pistons broadcast. On League Pass, you can choose whether or not, in this case, to watch the Pistons or the Cavs broadcast. And the play-by-play commentator for the Pistons, George Blaha, at the top of the broadcast, maybe it was their color commentator. Anyway, regardless, they were talking about DeAndre Drummond's ejection the night before because of the second technical foul where Joel Embiid flopped, and how that had an impact on the game. Now, the Pistons still won the game, so I'm not quite sure why he was bringing this up. But it triggered something for me as far as the replay thing that I continue to complain about. why not go back as a referee and, the talk is about getting the call right, but it's just not consistent. Why not get that call right? Clearly, if you go back and look at the replay, again, you look at it once. There's one angle, any of the angles really. There's that floor angle right below where it happened. You go look at it once, you say, yeah, that was a flop. You take the technical back and Drummond stays in the game, and maybe you give Embiid a foul or you give him a technical for flopping, and that changes the game in the correct direction. So it was another instant replay thing that I think could have very easily. It's just a quick fix. It continues to bother me, this instant replay thing. There was another one in the Lakers game last night against the Nuggets where I believe it was Michael Beasley and JaVale McGee went up to contest a shot on a layup, and Michael Beasley blocked it, and then it hit the backboard, and then JaVale McGee blocked it, and they called a goaltend, and in the broadcast, they showed one replay, and clearly Michael Beasley blocked it, it hits the backboard, and then JaVale McGee blocks it. So that's a situation where it would have still been a live ball, but because they called the goaltend, they blew the whistle, which brought the play. It brought the play dead, and I don't see why you can't just take the ball side out and say, "Oh, that wasn't a goaltending; it was a block." But as the whistle was blown, the ball was blocked, and it wasn't because the whistle was blown that the Lakers got the ball off the backboard. It was blocked, and Michael Beasley secured the rebound as the whistle was being blown. So just change the call and the Lakers take the ball out under the basket. It seems really simple to me. Is it just me? I don't know if it's just me or not. Anyway, let's talk about the Pistons and the Cavs. I don't have too much to say about it. It was I bet $30 on this game with one of my buddies who is a Cavaliers fan, and I thought that because Kevin Love was out, that the Pistons were going to blow the Cavaliers out. So I kind of jokingly said in our group chat that the Pistons were going to blow them out by 25, and he said, no way, they're going to win by 25. And then I put $30 on it because Pat Hemlock paid me $60 to watch her son for the night. And by watch her son for the night, I mean I just slept over there, and she gave me money just to sleep there, essentially. So I figured, fuck it, I'll bet it on this game because I was pretty confident on it. Needless to say, the Pistons won the game 110-103, so they didn't cover my 25-point spread. Probably not the greatest idea as a gambler. I don't really ever gamble. For some reason, I did last night just because I was basically given free money by Pat Hemlock. And Jamar Mosley, the guy that I lost it to, is a great fucking person who will put it to good use down in Cincinnati, Ohio, I don't remember exactly what Jamar's title is, but he's a youth liaison kind of at a high school down in Cincinnati, and is really helping out a lot of underprivileged kids in Cincinnati that, for a bunch of different reasons aren't in very good situations at home and just in life in general. So Jamar Mosley, I hope you put my $30 to good use down there. He's also a basketball trainer and basketball coach, a really good overall dude. The Cavs, though, were pretty bad for the most part. Although it was a much closer game than I thought it would be. The Pistons didn't really play all that well either. Their leading scorer was the Cavs' leading scorer was Kyle Korver with 21 points. Although they did spread it out pretty well. They had 6 guys in double figures. 4 of which were off the bench: Larry Nance, Kyle Korver, Colin Sexton, and Jordan Clarkson. J.R. Smith played 20 minutes, was 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. 2 rebounds, no assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals. J.R. Smith, so far this season, has not recovered very well from his faux pas in the finals. be interesting to see how much longer his career lasts because of, I mean, it's not because of that, but it just seems like JR's on the back nine, needless to say. He's probably on one of the last holes. Let's see, what did the Pistons do? The Pistons played pretty well. Their big two both had 26 in 36 minutes each. Blake Griffin was 69% from the field, 9 of 13. Andre Drummond was 11 of 17, 64% from the field. Blake hit 4 of 5 threes, 80% from 3. 10 rebounds for Blake, 22 for Andre Drummond. That was a big reason why I thought that the Pistons would blow the Cavs out, because without Kevin Love, their size, I felt like was going to be very dominant, and it was, but it just didn't result in a 25-point win. Again, probably not the smartest odds to bet on in a basketball game, but I was feeling a little frisky, so fuck it. I'm going to move on to the next game. The Trailblazers and the Orlando Magic was a pretty good game for the most part overall. Not exactly the most entertaining necessarily, but a good back-and-forth game. Damian Lillard had 41 points on 56% shooting, 5 of 10 from 3, 11 of 12 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He's really similar to Donovan Mitchell in a lot of ways, or I guess Donovan Mitchell is really similar to Damian Lillard since Donovan is younger. Donovan Mitchell also wears Damian Lillard's shoes, and they're both Adidas athletes. Maybe that's part of what reminds me of, I mean, really it's their play. They both attack the rim and finish and contort their bodies in traffic and finish really well around the hoop, and can both shoot really well. Their shots almost look very similar in a lot of ways, actually, now that I'm thinking about it more. Yusuf Nurkic looked really good last night, 18 points, 50% shooting from the field, 10 rebounds, so he had a nice little double-double. Nick Stauskas wasn't very good last night. Seth Curry was pretty good, 5 of 8 from the field on 11 points, 62% shooting, only 1 of 2 from 3. Let's look on the Magic side of the ball. I think Terrence Ross had a good game. Yes, he did. 29 minutes, 21 points. Nikola Vucevic was their leading scorer with 24 points. He and Evan Fournier, I didn't know of Evan Fournier really. I think he's a rookie. They both played really well together. But they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in double figures. Again, not tons to talk about from that game. What were my notes? Zach Collins had a career high for the Trailblazers. He looks pretty good off the bench. 17 minutes, 17 points, 100% from the field, 7 of 7, and those weren't all dunks either. He was 2 of 2 from. Oh, he had a perfect game. 2 of 2 from 3. He can step outside and shoot it pretty well. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, only 1 turnover. He had a solid game for them. Aaron Gordon played pretty well. He made a couple threes. He was 2 of 5 from 3 for the Magic, 40% from 3, 17 points in 28 minutes. You know, if he can, with his body and his jumping ability, if he can shoot the ball a little more consistently from 3, he shot it well last night, but I don't think he shoots it that well most nights. I think last night was a bit of an anomaly for him, but if he can shoot the ball like that and maybe just continue to stretch his game out more and more, it's not going to be in Orlando, because Orlando, other than Shaq and Penny and Dwight Howard, with all those shooters around him, and like back when LeBron was still in Cleveland the first go around, other than those two teams, the Magic really have never done anything of substance, and I don't think that they probably ever, which is sort of surprising. You know, Orlando is, I don't really like Florida, but Orlando is warm at least. It sort of surprises me that they don't attract free agents really at all. People tend to go to Miami, you know, as like LeBron did, if they're going to go to Florida. But if Aaron Gordon could get out of Orlando and get around a good group of guys, he could be a really good player in the NBA, rather than just a he had a couple amazing performances in the dunk contests in the past, but it'd be interesting to see him on a team with some guys around him that weren't Magic players. Lakers Nuggets. Lakers pressed full court was something I picked up on. They pressed up full court like kind of a lot, which is interesting. You don't really see that in the NBA very much. JaVale McGee is playing really well. He's averaging 17.2 points per game. If I would have been told 5 years ago that, if I would have been told, let alone 5 years ago, if I would have been told 3 months ago that JaVale McGee was going to be averaging 17.2 points per game 5 games into the season, I would definitely not have believed it. Last night he had 21 in 31 minutes, 10 of 16 from the field. Only 7 rebounds, but LeBron with a triple-double in 34 minutes had 28 points, was 10 of 17, 58% from the field. Just 1 of 3 from 3. He continues to struggle from three-point land. 70% from the free throw line, 7 of 10 is better than normal, I guess, for him, but something that he still needs to. I don't know how he hasn't improved on that as he's gotten older. You'd think that would be something that would just come a little easier as you got older, rather than moving around and jumping all over the place. You're just fucking standing there. But 3 steals for LeBron, 2 turnovers, 11 assists, 11 rebounds. It was a really quiet triple-double. There was, last episode I talked about the wow and the wow factor to a game, or the spectacular performance. Although LeBron had a triple-double last night, it was a very quiet triple-double. He had 28 points, but there were a couple dunks and a couple nice plays in transition, but a lot of the wow factor in that game for LeBron was like there was a lot of really great passes that were made by him, and a lot of really great finishes from Kuzma. Josh Hart had a good game. He only had 12 points, but played 31 minutes. Didn't shoot the ball very well, but was very active. 5 rebounds. The numbers don't really reflect it at all, actually. But I remember just thinking throughout the game that he was a really positive contributor to the game. Lance Stevenson also only had 12 points, but really, as LeBron said in the post-game interview, really, really ignited their little comeback. Well, I guess it was sort of a comeback. They were down at points in that game, but Lance Stevenson really put them over the edge. His energy has been great off the bench with that second unit. I've talked about it before. He was 2 of 3 from 3. I think both of those threes were back-to-back, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. But overall, just his activity and his energy, and it's just fun. It's fun to watch. To put it simply, it's really fun to watch. Kuzma had a great game. 22 points, 8 of 18, 44% from the field, 2 of 6 from 3 is not great, but he hit a couple pretty important ones down the stretch. LeBron was able to rest last night, which is really, really important in the fourth quarter for like 2 or 3 minutes, something that he couldn't do in the East last year with the Cavs. The route to the finals in the East, maybe, I think it gets talked about how the West is so much better than the East, but I think the West is better than the East, but I don't know that they're that much better anymore. Maybe 10 years ago they were like far better, but I don't think that they're a crazy amount better than the teams that are at the top of the East. Maybe at the bottom, the teams in the West are a little bit better, but his path to the Eastern Conference Finals, or to the finals in the East, was maybe a little bit easier than it will be this year in the West because of the Warriors. But this year, at least, he's not going to have to do everything. You saw last night Kuzma and McGee and Hart and Lonzo Ball hit a step-back 3 towards the end of the game. Jonathan Williams is providing really good minutes. He only played 12 minutes, but they're all really, really positive, good energy minutes. Caldwell Pope only scored 8, but played 22 minutes and did some really positive things off the bench. Michael Beasley played 2 minutes and got a block that they didn't count because they called it goaltending. But when Ingram comes back, I think he'll probably just continue to shoot the ball well. I don't see why not. It's just going to be it's really exciting to see players around LeBron that are young and have energy and that can help out. Like he doesn't have to do everything. He can score 28 points and have two other guys score 20. 3 guys scored 12. It's just exciting to see LeBron have some help around him. And they beat a team that was leading the West. Now I don't think that the Nuggets will be in the top. Last year they were a fringe. They just barely missed the playoffs essentially in a play-in game with the Timberwolves last year. But they'll probably finish somewhere in the middle of the playoff pack this year. But right now they're the top team and we're undefeated. So it was a really big win for the Lakers. If not for anything else, just kind of like a morale boost. You saw Lance when Kuzma got a steal and went and dunked it on the other end. Lance was dancing by the bench, and there's smiles on guys' faces, so that's exciting to see. Thunder Celtics was the first game in the TNT doubleheader. Al Horford had a really good run in the third quarter when the Celtics came back. And the Celtics were down by as many as 16 points in that game. The first half, I was like sort of half watching. I was mostly listening and then rewinding anytime that the play-by-play announcer's voice went up a couple octaves, just because anytime there was an exciting play, I would rewind it and watch. But I was mostly listening. The first half wasn't all that entertaining. It was kind of a blowout in the first half, and then the second half was a lot better. And the Celtics came back from down 16. Al Horford hit 3 threes in a row, played really well. The Morris brothers on the Celtics. The Morris brother is, I believe, Marcus Morris, and he played really well. What were his stat lines? Yeah, Marcus Morris, 29 minutes, 21 points, 5 of 10 shooting, 50% from the field, 4 of 5 from 3, 80% from 3, 10 rebounds. I didn't know that the Morris brothers could shoot the ball this well, or maybe they haven't always been able to shoot the ball this well, but both of them are shooting the ball really, really well from the perimeter and are great defenders on guys like LeBron or guys like, Tatum's on his team, but these bigger wing scorers, he can defend Kevin Durant pretty well, as good as anybody can, I guess. Not that anybody's really good at defending Kevin Durant, but the Morris brothers are playing really, really well. Kyrie had 15 points in 33 minutes, was 6 of 13 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. Wasn't a huge contributor to the win. There were a couple times where he waved off Tatum in some pivotal moments down the stretch and didn't really do much with the ball, and then ended up passing it to Tatum. Tatum had 24 in 34 minutes, 8 of 18 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 6 rebounds. Played pretty well for the most part. Gordon Hayward continues to struggle. 5 points, 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. What else? Terry Rozier only had 4 points in 24 minutes, but had a couple steals down the stretch. He had 4 steals, a couple steals down the stretch that were pretty big. What did my boy Russell Westbrook do? 13. Oh, wow. 13. Listen to this. 13 points in 32 minutes. 5 of 20 from the field, 25%. 0 of 5 from 3. 15 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 turnovers, negative 5 point differential, or plus minus. Russell Westbrook, he looks out of control. People talk about him being the fastest guy with the ball. At the beginning of every season, the executives, the GMs, I believe it's the GMs for every team, do an anonymous poll, and they just vote on a bunch of really random things. And one of them is fastest player with the ball, and Russell Westbrook won that one pretty unanimously. And I just look at it as him out of control when he's running really fast with the ball. He just takes off towards the hoop and throws his body in the air and throws up a layup, and it usually misses, and he complains for a foul call as he cascades into the front row of fans, and he's just not impressive really to me. Now, it's early, but this is kind of what he does. He shoots a horrible percentage, takes way too many threes even though he can't shoot threes, turns the ball over too much, and just generally plays out of control. Paul George had 22 points in 35 minutes. Didn't shoot the ball well either. 2 of 10 from 3, 7 of 22 from the field. 1 assist, 8 rebounds. Every time Jeremy Grant does something, I think it's Serge Ibaka. Steven Adams didn't play all that well. I really like Steven Adams. I think he is a really great, just solid screen setter, dirty work center. I really, really loved him when they had that core group of Harden and Ibaka and Durant. That was a really fun team to watch, and I really like Steven Adams early in his career. I think he's still getting better, but I just wish that he was playing with somebody other than Russell Westbrook. I think I'm going to end on that note. It's a Friday, and I am about to have some dinner and then head to the Trine women's hockey game, the opening game of the season for Thunder Division or Thunder NCAA hockey, and the women, I have no idea who they're playing. Maybe Finlandia, or it doesn't matter. I'm going to a hockey game because I can do fucking anything